Hello everyone and welcome back to one of our lovely sessions, how to cope without therapy. One-on-one kind of thing. Not bad, I would say. Probably making you feel hopefully a little bit more open, more connected in a sense, perhaps sometimes even a bit more vulnerable. Today in this video I'm going to actually make it a part 3, the trilogy of the other two that we spoke about, and it was all about romantic relationships, the components of it, if you'd like, the very dry and mathematical approach. Well, actually, the software kind of approach. And it is, some people are very creative and they resonate with words and flowers and connections and hearts and butterflies, whereas some of us are much more logical, and we are more, not so much more rational, but we apply rationality more so into everyday life. And to fully understand ourselves, if paintings and words don't say much to logical people, then trust me, mathematical schematics, software programs, logic processes do talk a lot to some of us. Hopefully there are a lot of people out there that are also a good blend of the both of them, and that is the beauty when you get to mix and match and blend both of the worlds. But getting back to what it is that part 3 is about. So we talked about attraction and affection, and how in each relationship we scale and interpret and give meaning and value and valence to what matters to us, to our needs, to our pleasures, to our likes and dislikes, which pretty much sort of are like the composition of what relationships are about. And this is purely because we're obviously talking about those relationships where we have that sexual attraction. That's there and a given. The moment that's not there, please don't go any further. It will it not that it will defy the purpose. It will just be one of those platonical relationships where you do not need a software or a guide or a recipe or a book or anything. It just works because it does. So what we're talking about is when you're into a romantic relationship and you've got the sexual attraction, the desire is there, you match, you're fabulous together on that aspect. But then the hard work is that this whole formation of wants and needs and pleasures and likes and dislikes, what matters, what doesn't matter, this is for me, this is me, this is you, and all of the things that we interpret and somehow even tell ourselves white lies that we don't want to hurt the other, so we don't want to talk about this or that, or you said this, and so on. So there's quite a lot of sometimes torment that happens in this affective aspects, the emotions, the feelings, the love, the care, the devotion, all of those lovely buzzwords, and we, to make sense of it all, again, sometimes simplicity and being logical bloody helps. So we've got the sexual attraction, we've got, remember, very important now. We were talking about we're starting any relationship on the basis, the foundation, the grounds that we're being kind to each other. No one goes into a relationship thinking, I'm gonna hurt the living daylights out of this person. So we're always and the level of kindness that we display in any relationship sometimes has nothing to do with the relationship, but it has to do with us as a person or personality or how we're at. Like you would help if someone is in dire straits and they need help. You would help that person. I don't know, you're a friend that is you've got a friend that is troubled and they need a place to sleep, or they just need to come and vent. You just do those things. It's not we extend that courtesy and that kindness to pretty much everyone around. Sometimes we do that with strangers, with perfect strangers. It doesn't have to be about relationship. Kindness is just a given. We're hoping that the good in us is there, and this is where sometimes we get mixed up, because we're confusing the kindness with the fondness or the feeling or the emotion or the love or the desire or the wants and needs. um, it's not difficult to distinguish. It's just that it can be misinterpreted. You can confuse kindness with feelings. So hopefully you're understanding where is it that you sit in this formation, with your other significant person, without having to confuse their kindness or your kindness, or put balance to that and bring it in the emotional field. Please be kind and leave kindness stay throughout. Don't switch that off, regardless of what happens here. So going back to those likes and dislikes and availabilities and compatibility and needs and all of these things. You know how we sometimes say that we've got a checklist, you got to tick some boxes, like sometimes like, what boxes do I need to tick to make you happy, really? So when we do say those things, it's actually just the logical rational attempt to understand how we can make this work. It's not a bad question. Think about it. And mind you, sometimes we probably it comes much easier for us to know what we don't want versus what it is that we want. It's one of those famous lines, if you've seen The Notebook, where you just shake the other person and all you want to know is, what do you want? What do you want? It's a bloody hard question, with a very complicated answer. Chances are better ask, what boxes do I have to tick and what is it that you don't want? And that probably help you a little bit more. It's difficult to understand what it is that makes the other one feel wanted, feel safe, feel desired, and feel accepted. So at some point in time in a relationship, we just have to become specific. We just have to be good, and comfortable in asking questions and receiving those answers. It's perhaps, again, sharing, it's like a buzzword that lost its meaning, but it's the purpose of closeness. It's the purpose of proximity. You don't have to be joined to the hip all the time that you're together, but the time you do spend around each other and together helps you, gives you those answers, gives you the opportunity to ask those questions. And it's this is actually the reason why I'm sure some of you, and I've got days when I'm so into it, maybe not so philosophical as to the Carl Jung's approach with archetypes and personalities, and I mean, I like that, but sometimes I'm not that deep. Sometimes I just need like right now, today, what does the horoscope says? And the horoscope says that a Leo and a Scorpio, they're gonna have sparks and fires, and they need to learn how to combine those together. And I'm like, oh bloody oath, no. So now this is hard work. Why? Why? Because sometimes archetypes and personalities have that ability of passing on traits and information about ourselves that it helps the other one tick or not tick boxes. You know, a Leo is fiery, a Leo is hey, let's just get on the bus and see where it goes, like adventure, spirit. Whereas other type of personalities may be a bit more of a, I'm quite comfy right here, right now. I like this. It helps me relax, and I don't feel the need for adventure right now. So mixing and blending all of those things, it's kind of difficult if you do not have the opportunity to find out what it is that you like, what it is that this is how I am, this is what I don't like. And sometimes it comes down to how we show affection. And you can read books about it, and you can read, I don't know, top 5, top 10 rules and 15 things of how to say to your woman or what to say to your men, and this is how you express love. And go ahead and drive yourself knowledgeable with all of those lovely things. But again, for the spirit of simplicity and logic and ones and zeros and plus and minus and simplicity, showing affection, it's merely a combination of actions or words. We want actions, we want physicality, tangibility of it, or we want words, we want the ideology of it, the beauty that it's sparked in our minds by, I love you so very much, you're my soulmate, I don't know what I'd do without you, I don't know how my life went on without you. Those are beautiful things. But then to hear and to be told, and with sincerity. But then sometimes for some people you need the both. You don't need just the soulmate poetry declaration. You also need actions. You need touch. You need someone to hold your hand. You need someone to play with your hair. You need someone to just physically be there. You need someone to buy you flowers. And you know what? You just have to think for yourself as what it is that you like out of these two little bits, two little worlds that can be together or separate, whatever recipe does it for you. Don't follow the rules, don't go I need 1 2 3 4 5. Just explain it, and it's hard to know what you want, but you know what brings you joy, what brings you pleasure, what brings you exuberance and excitement. Here's an example. I do say this usually in pretty much every romantic relationship I've been in. I love flowers. I love flowers. If there's anytime a doubt in you that you don't know how to show me you care for me or you love me, bring me flowers. Flowers just uh, uh, flowers just make me melt. It doesn't necessarily matter what kind of flowers, it's just that I know that someone put a thought into going and getting those for me, and the nervousness of ta-da, I brought you flowers, and It's just, to me, that's magical. And not only that, and I think, and this is probably the part that I encourage all of you to think deeper than that. Yes, I do love flowers, but what is it about? What is it about it that brings me that much joy? So I remember when I was a kid, and I don't know about you or your parents, but my parents, I doubt they were, I honestly doubt they were happy or had a happy marriage, or if they were, they definitely hid it from us, because my brother and I don't think we ever thought about our parents as being happy. But amongst all that, that aside, I remember my dad coming home every Sunday. So Sunday morning, he would just walk out the door, I'm going shopping, and that was that. And he would go, and he would come back home 1 hour or 2 hours later, full of bags, and not just groceries and food and goodies and cakes for us and chocolate, but he pretty much every Sunday I can remember, he would bring flowers. And sometimes, because like I said, they weren't the greatest at talking or showing that love to each other, but I remember his smirk on his face when he would give those to my mom, and that was precious. And I think that's why I love them. I love that. I love how she would just stop everything what she was doing, and she was just so like, smell them and breathe that in, and she would go like, I love them. Thank you so much. Doesn't mean that I forgive you about this or that or the other, and I'm still mad, and I'm still not gonna do this, but for that tiny little bit of moment, it was like he was he was um, he was like shy, this little teenager, and she was this happy little damsel, princess. So you see, my point is, sometimes you don't need to follow recipes. Sometimes we complicate things so much. So stick with simplicity, or take a step back always. And you know, it's hard to get the courage to explain yourself to someone else, because that puts you into a territory of being vulnerable or opening too much, or whatever screwed up little defense mechanism shows up in there. But ask them for what it is that they like and why they like that, and then open up yourself, because there's nothing wrong with talking. There's nothing wrong with putting your thoughts out loud. And like I said, it does take courage. So today, to wrap it up, our part 3, I just want to read you from our lovely Patrick Lindsay book. And it's the last bit, it's the last page on his book, page 170, of Ways of Finding Beauty. And Patrick says, finding beauty in courage. It comes in all forms and sizes, often without warning. And when you think you've lost it, it's not the lack of fear, it's the ability to face your fear and still to be able to function with grace. And I think that's beautiful. And his lovely little quote at the bottom, it says, it takes courage to grow up and become who you really are. So my point is, Don't give up and keep discovering and try to find out and ask questions. Make an effort, and if you want to, and if they want to, that's pretty much it. All I had in my lovely recipe: the unorthodox software and logical rationality of romantic relationships, and how easy they can fail, and why we need to tick boxes, and why it's so bloody hard to explain why we like the things we like. Thank you so much. I'm Gabriela, and I'll see you next time.